And I'm joined by news.com.au entertainment reporter Bronte Coy. Bronte, lovely to see you. I imagine you've been having a fabulous week over in London. Look, the royal family PR machine is in full swing in the lead up to the coronation. We saw some great footage yesterday of Prince William and Princess Kate riding on the tube. Can you fill us in?
Oh, this was so exciting. What a wonderful way to lead up to the coronation. Our favourite royals out and about in the middle of London. So William and Kate jumped on the tube at Acton and headed up to Tottenham Court Road, right in the heart of London. And they were chatting to the transport workers and they were talking about how excited they were for the coronation. And as we know, these two are just such naturals with people. I was actually there at the pub in Soho that they turned up at, which was really exciting. We were waiting there. There was only about 15 people to begin with, and then they wandered down the street. By then, there were hundreds. There was a huge security operation, but they seemed in no rush. They were stopping, they were chatting to everyone, and then they headed into this tiny historic pub called the Dog and Duck, where they were chatting to local hospitality workers all about the weekend, about the plans for the coronation, and obviously there's a long weekend here in London, so there was a lot of excitement. They were checking out what the plans were and thanking them for their work. And what was amazing was afterwards they were out and about just taking endless selfies, which I hadn't seen a lot of prior to that, but they were also lamenting their fears about the weather forecast. William in particular seemed particularly worried about the grim forecast for Saturday. But yeah, it was a really exciting appearance just in the lead up to the coronation, and there was so much buzz around them.
And Bronte, I've got some footage of that clip of them at the Dog and Duck and walking through London, so I'm just going to play that for you now.
Are you local, you guys? Where are you
I'm from Sydney.
You're from Sydney?
Yeah, it's a long way.
Stockholm?
Yeah.
We're from Germany. Germany. And we've met your father weeks ago.
Oh, were you there?
Yeah.
Okay, you had a really good trip. You really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We do a lot of travelling coming up.
Yeah.
You might see him around a bit
It
more.
was lovely.
Have a nice weekend, guys.
Hello. Are the kids excited for the weekend?
They're looking forward to it. There's a mix of sort of nerves and anticipation and excitement going on at the moment.
Louis will behave, you think?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
You never quite know.
No, not with kids that young, yeah.
And good weather. I think it might be a bit wet, but it's typically British if it is.
Fingers crossed though.
And we've just been joined by royal commentator Kinsey Schofield. Kinsey, we know that there are also many informal celebrations in addition to the formal ones over Coronation weekend. Can you tell us about how everyday Brits are getting together to mark the coronation?
I mean, street parties, it's the most fun when you have these great British blowouts. It's the street parties, the neighborhoods getting together, everyone bringing a different dish and bringing different cocktails. And, you know, neighbors actually smiling and spending time with each other. There's going to be 57 huge screens at least throughout the country where you can watch the King's coronation. And yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of celebrations over the next few days.
Now, Bronte, we keep seeing polls telling us the popularity of the royal family is waning, but there seems to be plenty of interest and plenty of buzz around the coronation. You're on the ground. Is that a fair observation I'm making from afar?
Look, it's a really interesting one. I've been here for almost a week, and this is one of the things I've wanted to know from people here in London. There is such a buzz around the coronation. There's decorations everywhere. It's impossible to miss, and there is a real feeling of excitement. So you're wondering, well, who are the people then that are pushing this excitement? There are a lot of tourists in town. It also seems to be the intergenerational divide. From speaking to so many Britons over the last few days, what I've learned is that almost 100% of the people I spoke to below 40 had no interest in watching the coronation. They were just extremely excited about having a long weekend. Who can blame them? But beyond that, the older generation were very excited, and they were travelling into town. There was a lot of people that were planning their day and where they were going to stand along the procession route, the parties they were going to have. They were going to get together with their families to watch it on TV. So there's definitely excitement. It does just seem to be an intergenerational divide. But I know that on the day, as it's happening, that buzz will be everywhere in London. This city is so good at pomp and ceremony. This country is so good at turning out for these big royal events. And I know we're going to see that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I want to talk about the hardcore royal lovers. And we've heard reports of royal watchers camping out at Buckingham Palace, which, look, that there is just, you have to be passionate, don't you? Here's one of my favourites.
We don't just want to come on the day, we like to build up to the coronation and see the people as well. I'd see the St James's Park, Clarence House, Buckingham Palace, and also we like to see many things we like to see, and also we like to see people coming as well, putting their tents up, that sort of thing. And of course the thing that's got to hit my heart and most hearts is when the golden coronation coach goes past the Mall, and King Charles III is wearing the imperial crown, and his Queen Camilla is wearing Queen Mary's crown. That's when I know we've seen the coronation.
Kinsey, can you tell us about some of the royal fanatics you've come across recently, and what's your favourite yarn?
Oh, well, so the Mall is wild. It is so much fun. You could just spend hours there talking to these people that have so much enthusiasm. They've set up these tents, and inside of these tents, they've got like a plethora of all sorts of royal memorabilia from years on end. They're so excited to connect with one another, share what they have, share all their fun goodies, whether it's, magazines or busts from Queen Elizabeth's original, coronation in 1953. But I saw actually at the pub yesterday, I ran into somebody that I recognized from Instagram with both of her luggage cases straight off the plane from Texas. Her name was Terry Wilson, and she's an author. And she came straight off the plane from Texas. She just wanted a glimpse of William and Catherine. And that jet lag is not a joke. You can ask Prince Harry on Saturday. And I thought that was so cute to see somebody beeline it straight to a William and Catherine appearance that was announced at the last minute. People are incredibly passionate about this family, and I love a good royal celebration to be reminded of how important the royal family is in uniting, the country and the Commonwealth.
Bronte, which was your favourite from this week?
I actually spoke to that man you played at the beginning, and I spoke to him on Tuesday, which was days ahead of the coronation. It was actually quite cold then as well, and it had rained. He was so excited, and he had actually camped out at every royal event for the last few decades, and he was just as enthusiastic on Tuesday, days ahead of it, as he'd been about William and Kate's wedding, about the Queen's funeral, everything. He loves the royals. It was hard to miss the royal fever.
Yeah, I just find that just so delightful. Now, look, we know Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is in London for the coronation. Not too long ago, he sat down with British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to talk Australia's trade partnership with the United Kingdom. He's also met with King Charles, and today he met with Prince William. Now, Bronte, how significant is this?
It is significant because we are awaiting a William and Kate tour of Australia. This has actually been on the cards for a few years, but it was delayed because of COVID and then with the Queen's death. And this is something that I think people will get really excited about. We know how popular William and Kate are. They're definitely the royal secret weapon, or not so secret weapon given the polls. So Anthony Albanese, he's been here. He's had a wonderful meeting with them. He's talked about the royals being warm and engaging. He gave them some lamingtons from an Aussie bakery, of course. So I'm hoping that those plans have been laid out. He did reiterate the invitation to come to Australia, and I do think that will encourage plans to move forward. Hopefully that is the case. I'm really hoping that's the outcome there, but it's really nice to see our representative engaged with this huge event, and I think it's going to be a nice few days for us all to come together on that.
Now, Kinsey, we've seen some pretty unflattering treatment of Meghan and Harry in recent months, and look, it's not entirely undeserved. Now, while this is not another South Park sketch, apparently someone has gone to the effort to mock Meghan and Harry in knitted coronation decorations. Now, what's going on here, and could there be anything more British?
Oh, it's precious. This is called yarn bombing, and it's this group of women. They refuse to give their age. That they drop these on top of the mailboxes. They want to surprise people. I think the last time I saw this was at Jubilee, and they were precious. But yeah, looks like Meghan's getting kicked to the curb in this one. Harry's looking pretty distressed there too. It's like you said, it's not South Park. It's pretty cute and pretty funny, and it's hard not to chuckle when you get a glimpse of that.
And Bronte, just from you, look, you've sat as a panellist on this show since it began, and we talked a lot about Meghan and Harry. I feel like in this last week, it has really become about the coronation preparations, and they haven't really featured too much.
This has really been what most people had hoped for. And to be honest, I think that's from both camps, from some supporters on both camps. This instance is not about Harry and Meghan. Harry knows that. He's coming on his own. He's doing a fly-in, fly-out visit. This was about the royal family. This is about King Charles and Camilla. This is about the key players in the royal family and what the next reign is going to look like here. And it's actually been really nice to have that, I suppose, break from negative headlines around them. It's been a really celebratory atmosphere, and it's great to see. You never know how these things are going to roll out when we get closer to, and there are still hours ahead of the coronation for any little bombshells to be dropped. But I think for the most part, it looks like we are focusing on what this weekend is about, and it's a really nice thing for everyone to unite on at this point, I think.
Kinsey, continuing with the theme of the less popular royals, Harry and Andrew are reported now to not have active roles in the coronation. What's the reaction been to that?
I mean, people are clearly supportive of that decision, but I can tell you who's not supportive of that decision, and that's Prince Andrew. He's pretty upset over it. He's disappointed by it. He wants to be there to support his brother. I think he really misses his involvement in the royal family. It was what he lived for. It was all he knew. And it's true, truly he believes that he's an innocent man and he doesn't want to be punished for something he says he's not guilty of. So I think he's really struggling with it. Harry has said himself he misses the traditions of the royal family, but he doesn't miss the institution and everything that comes with it. I do think that Harry will fly in, like we said, fly out, try not to be a diversion as much as possible. But I think he will feel glad that he did that he was there to support his father. But I do think that Prince Andrew is going to be a little disappointed throughout the day on Saturday.
Now, we know that the weather is not forecast to be brilliant tomorrow. Bronte, do you think that will deter spectators? And what are your plans for tomorrow?
It's a bit disappointing because we have had a relatively good week weather-wise, and there's been these massive rehearsals take place with thousands of people that will be involved in the procession. We had the royal family at Westminster Abbey rehearsing. One thing we cannot rehearse for is the weather, and it is looking a little grim. So tomorrow we will be out on the streets. I will be out watching the procession from Westminster in the crowd, because that is where you get the best vantage point, and being part of that buzz is actually really exciting. The rain is not going to be super fun as that wait takes place, but I don't think it will deter people too much. As I said, there is so much excitement here. We just have to pick up some ponchos, I guess, but we are hoping that the weather clears up in time for the fly past, because that is such an exciting and traditional moment in these events. Actually, for the Queen's coronation 70 years ago, there was bad weather forecast, and there was talk that they were going to have to cancel that fly past where the royal family watches on from the balcony of Buckingham Palace, but the weather cleared up and they were able to do it a little bit late. So I'm hoping at the very least, maybe if there has to be a delay, but I really hope that part at least goes ahead, because that's that amazing moment when the royal family walks out at the end of the day and
Bronte,
they watch the
Kinsey,
spectacle.
Thank
we watch
you
the
so much
spectacle.
for joining me.